Hello YouTube, it's Alec here with Yu-Gi-Oh! Underground, back from the North American World Championship qualifier, where I played Ritual Beast, and just wanted to share with you guys the deck that I've been testing and building for the last month. Now, I did drop after round 1 so that I could do what I really want to do at Nationals, which is get cards signed by voice actors because I completely geek out. But nonetheless, I do feel that the build I constructed for Nationals was very competitive within the environment. And it performed very well throughout the main event and side events throughout the day. So just share with you guys my build and just give some commentary on the cards for those who care. Oh, and also at Nationals I learned that I really like this deck, so I was suckered into getting this beautiful mat by Core TCG That was pretty cool. It looks nice. But anyway. First, 3 Kanahawk, the best card. He's Gold Sark. Pretty much, if you open him and no other Ritual Beast, you're still fine, because you're going to get places. 3 Rampengu, he's a great combo piece. Not as good as Kanahawk, but he'll get you there. 2 Apelia. I did test 3 of this, but the third one I used in one OTK, but I honestly... by the time Nationals came, it was the first event that I played a tournament in. I needed the third one for an OTK because I started with these 2 on board, got both their effects, then got a special summoned one's effect, then got normal summoned one's effect, so that everything on my board was pumped by 2,000. But honestly, by the time Nationals came around, I honestly forgot if that OTK mattered, and if there might have been another way to do it. But just having 3 lines at the time might have made it easier. But it never comes up, so 2 is just fine. And 1 Petalfin. This card's the real MVP. Let me tell you, this card's amazing. It can bounce Floodgates out of the way so that you can combo out for a turn. It can bounce Fusions and Dantes and Windows. This card's amazing. I was thinking about playing 2 of this, but then you'd have to draw it too much. But the ability to just have this card in your Swiss Army knife box of Ritual Beast is really good. So that's it for the Beast. The Tamers, 3 Elder. I do the 2 Laura. This is something, I think Pasquale might have done it first from tcgplayer.com to cite my sources, but he talked about how playing 2 of this was good because it gives you recovery out of the graveyard and gives your deck more longevity. Also, I think people seem to forget that Debris Dragon's a really good card, and the ability to play multiple Debris Dragons is not something that should be taken aside. What I find the best part about Ritual Beast is the fact that you have so many Debris Dragons that it's just so easy and great to grind with this deck, because just summoning this card is, for your normal summon, if you have Ritual Beast Engraved, is a threat, and that's why we also play the one that has the same effect, but different name. Next, I play 2 Win. Just to bump the... Like I said, when playtesting this deck, I felt that the Debris Dragon mechanics of these 5 Tamers were just something really good, and Win offered me an extra out to a lot of, the ability to search Win and normal summon Win and grab one of the banished ones, opens OTKs, but also the ability to, get it out of your deck to help you set up allows you to combo off harder. So while some people cut the extra Win for an extra Laura, I decided to play 2 and 2 a piece, and I honestly didn't regret it at all. There's just a lot of situations where things will end up banished, and you'll appreciate that second Win, both for OTK making and just so that you have the option to send one from deck to grave without having to worry about no access to the great normal summon effect and 1500 attack for the rest of the game. And to round out the monsters, I just played 2 Valor, because Valor's a good Yu-Gi-Oh card. Next for the spells, you play the 1 Bond for the OTKs. Also, if you open 2 Tamers in a bond, or Elder, another Tamer in a bond, you can start going off, which unfortunately for me, because my deck likes to brick, happens way too often. Then 2 E-Tellies. People debate 2 or 3 of this. Now, if you notice, I'm not running Ghost Ogre, Ghost Rabbit, Soul Ogre. If I had the will to pay for those cards, I might test a 3, but as far as my testing can tell, the 3rd E-Telly is only definitively better if you're running 1 or 2 Ghost Ogre Snow Rabbits, and since I'm not going to pay $40 for a Yu-Gi-Oh card, the 2 worked out in my situation. just to help me get started. Also helps complete OTKs. And then 3 Upstart. It's a combo deck. 1 Gold Sark. Now, I tested both Gold Sarcophagus and Foolish Burial for this. People like them to help set up combos. I ultimately decided to run 1 Gold Sark and 1 Foolish Burial. Reason being, I already decided to play to win. And this plus win is another way to get started, which does come up. Like, you just want as many ways to get started sometimes. But also, if you open, like, Elder Kanahawk Gold Sark, like, Gold Sark makes your good hands better, but it makes your bad hands playable, while as Foolish Burial doesn't make good hands any better, really. It doesn't make bad hands playable. It really only helps if you open Foolish, Laura, or Zelpefrica and really don't have another way to get going, and it just wasn't a card that was productive to the deck, whereas Gold Sarcophagus seems to be very productive to the deck, so I would definitely recommend playing this card. Would I play 2 if it goes to 2, since Dragon Rulers aren't around to keep it limited? I don't know. We'll see when we get there. 2 MST. Might be worth looking into playing 3. There were a lot of Klees in Nationals, and it is the worst matchup, but I wasn't really pandering to Klee too much because the people who I playtest who played Klees were definitively worse than the people who I played against playing Klees at Nationals, so that's worth thinking into. 1 Book of Moon, just very diverse. People forget that you can contact fuse face-down monsters. It's not like a synchro summon. So if they like try to Veiler your Kanahawk or something, you can book it, get the effect off, and still contact fuse and still leave yourself in a pretty good place. Really good against Burning Abyss, which I had a lot of play testing against because a lot of my friends play Burning Abyss. And just good versatile card all around. There's not really a bad matchup for it. And rounding out the spells for Geki because, yeah, that's a good card. For the traps, 3 Ambush, 3 Steeds, pretty much the whole deck. Just the ability to not target monster destruction, like wipe the board, keep your guys safe, and then make OTKs or make even more advantage is really good. I mean, honestly, when you think about it, any deck that has the capacity to search trap cards is really good. Like, Trap Chicks were good in their time, Infinity were good in their time. There's a deck that can search trap cards, so that ability just pushes the deck over the top, especially with Ambush, where you can cheat the system of special summoning your guys once per turn by special summoning them in your opponent's end phase and keep going. Next, I actually didn't play very many more traps. The other traps I opted for were Solemn Warning, Chaos Trap Hole, just to serve as the pseudo Solemn Warning. That way I didn't lose to Dinko, and this helps in more matchups than not. The only matchup it's like dead in is the Klee matchup, and since I did have a hard time with that matchup and I didn't actually see Dinko, the main deck's Chaos Trap Hole might not have been as warranted as I thought it would be, but it was still good during the events that I played in nonetheless. Ring of Destruction, just spot removal for the gem lock, and just spot removal for like monsters is really good. The Ring's just a great card, even with the errata. And finally, Vanity's Emptiness, because it's got that oppression effect where you can just swarm your board with monsters, flip Vanity's Emptiness, and then win. So, not really a reason not to play it. The extra deck is pretty self-explanatory. You don't have very much room for negotiation with it. You need the 3 Kanahawks because it's the deck. You need the 3 Apelios. 2 Petalfin. I guess people are talking about cutting this to 1, but I like having the 1 as an option and the 1 for Rampengu effect, so I wouldn't cut it to 1, especially since you exceed very seldom. And 2 Ulti-Gaiapella, 1 for the win condition, the other 1 for the Rampengu. And that leaves you with 5 X-Seeds. The ones I chose to play were Lightning Story. This card wins games. Castell. Just because in the Klee matchup, I realized that putting Scout on the top of their deck is not a problem for them. They just kind of say, okay, thanks, draw Scout, search, and you didn't really get anywhere. This has the capacity to get rid of those Scouts and Sacrifices, like, permanently. Exciton, Evil Swarm Exciton Knight is just a great way to nuke boards. And then for the last 2, I played Stellar Knight, Pultimus, and Stellar Knight Constellar Diamond. Supposedly, you would think it'd be, like, super good in the Burning Abyss matchup, but the trap version of Burning Abyss can pretty easily out it, so I don't know if I actually feel like committing 2 extra deck slots to this combo is, like, viable anymore. The card I actually wish I had during the event was that rank 2 2000 guy that can't be destroyed by battle and can bounce cards, just because if you open Elder Emergency Teleport, that card can give you some stall time while you get some real combo pieces. And that was really the only card that I wish I had in here that I didn't have throughout the course of the events I played, and I didn't play these 2 at all, so since they are a little bit more on the pricey side, if you are building the deck like me, and by that I mean building the deck on a more budget angle, don't feel obligated to buy these, you never use them. Side deck, 3 Lancia, since you can't run Iron Wall because it shuts you out. Lancia is your next best thing. It's a good hand trap. 2 Maxi. I like hand traps, but honestly, double drawing Maxi in this format can be pretty bad, so I opted not to run the 3. 1 D-Fissure, and it's here. 1 D-Fissure, 1 Macrocosmos, because it's just kind of, if your deck has the capacity to side them, you should be sort of mentality. 1 Chaos Trap Hole to get out of the Denko is also very good against Stellar Knights. And Stellar Knights and Shadalls who play Denko, you can also get away with screwing them up a little bit. And Burning Abyss, I actually don't see this card very much against Burning Abyss, so it can be good against them, I guess. Next, the last MST, if you don't main it, side it, and 3 Twister to get yourself out of dumb Kleehort situations, because really Kleehort's like the most linear deck to play against. It's just, if you have the spell Trap Destruction, you win, and if you don't, you lose. So it's kind of unfortunate that Klees forced that to happen, but it just is how it is. 2 Trap Stun. I was debating between Trap Stun and Wire Taps in this spot, but Trap Stun's definitively better against Burning Abyss and Klees, whereas Wire Tap's only better against Stellar Knights, but I didn't really, Stellar Knights seem to be fading out of the format, so I think Trap Stun's your better bet here, and it does help because you can preemptively activate it, and then, go off, and then, usually if you go off, your Kanahawk will make back the -1 that the Trap Stun, put you in, so, just very, very solid card. And the final card I ran was, Breakthrough Skill. I ran this because people in my locals were, siding Vanity's Fiends and Majesty's Fiends. I just wanted the extra out to it, and it can also help with Denko a little bit, but, in actuality, I didn't really use this card, and in the matchups that I felt like I needed it for, Shadalls was pretty much... Shadal and Stellar Knight were the big ones. Stellar Knights I wasn't having problems with, and Shadalls I really wasn't having problems with. So, in hindsight, I think I would make this a Fairy Wind, or a Tornado, or just any sort of random spell Trap Destruction, just to help deal with Klees. And so that's the deck. It performed very well. I like my build personally, which, I mean, to be fair, isn't that far off from the norm, but it is a little bit. I like my build because I like the capacity to grind. I don't like people who build decks for, ideal situations. I want to be able to, if your opponent opens strong, you're not going to win. And if you open super strong, your opponent's not going to win. So I like the decks that can open more, somewhere in between, not all in, but can just grind their way out of the situations, just because that's more realistic deck building, in my opinion. And pretty much it. Oh, and also, a key member of this deck, who was actually not featured in the deck profile, but was actually the Blue Eyes Toon Dragon, because in the Ultimate Pegasus Challenge, one of the rules said you could dig out a toon from your collection and slam it on the field. And having this card sitting in a binder of mine was actually super useful, because my opponent did not have a toon, and I got a 3000 beater who could attack directly, and he was a key part of making sure that I went undefeated in the Ultimate Pegasus Challenge. So, good for Blue Eyes Toon Dragon. And, yeah, if you have anything you want to add, any kind of theorio on the deck that I missed, it's been a long month of playtesting to get this to a place where I really like it, but I do really like this deck, and I felt like that it was worthy to present to you guys on YouTube. So, yeah, rate, comment, subscribe, and I will talk to you guys later.